So I will be discussing lesson planning and how best to structure your lessons and how to go about beginning your planning process. Your first and most important tool is the instructor's syllabus. You always want to be aware of what's happening in the course, and you always also want to be aware of upcoming due dates. So, for example, if you have a first draft of an assignment or first draft of Essay 1 ready, due in a couple of days, you might want to include a writing portion that addresses the essay in your SI lesson plan. You always want your lesson plan to be structured and to have a purpose, and you want to express that purpose to the students. So it always has to be prepared, and there needs to be a clear sense of purpose for the students, so when they come in, they know why they're here and what they're going to be learning in this particular lesson. Moreover, you want to actually have a backup plan in case the lesson doesn't go through. The students might not be responsive, or you might have it just didn't correspond that well with the instructor's lesson plan. You want to correspond with the instructor anyway, just to be sure that your lesson plan is going to supplement theirs in a efficient manner. Also want to correspond with your partner if you have a partner, to make sure that you're both aware of what's being taught that day, because there may be an emergency and your partner can't make it that day. Both of you should be able to execute that lesson plan. Always be aware of the course syllabus, what's happening that day, and use your resources. We have great resources. We have the SI Moodle page where we have a long list of websites where you can actually find pre-made lesson plans that you can adapt yourself. You can adapt to the theme or the topic of the course or particular lesson of that day. For example, if you found one on the rhetorical triangle and they've used a vodka advertisement and theme of your class is something different, you might consider changing the content to something else. So for example, if your class's theme is satire for that day and you want to talk about the rhetorical triangle, maybe use a political cartoon or something instead. As far as formatting, you want to make sure that there's a balance between lecture and activities. So you might want to consider speaking for the first 15 minutes and breaking up into a group activity for the next 15 minutes, and then reconvening afterwards. You always want to break up your lesson plan into increments of time, and be explicit about that with the students as well, so that they know and they can work in a much more controlled environment, knowing that they have a specific amount of time to work on something. To divide work with your SI partner. Some SI leaders have had success breaking it up in per lesson, to have one SI leader teach the first half of the 50 minutes and the second SI leader teach the second half. And for other SI leaders, they've been successful just alternating dates, one SI leader teaching the course and the other SI leader acting as an assistant, and they alternate that way.